If you grew up playing the Paper Mario games, specifically Paper Mario 1 on Nintendo 64 and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door on Gamecube, you might have noticed the modern Paper Mario games don't quite use that same kind of approach to gameplay style anymore. The overall gameplay design seems to change between each new game, and the overall structure of design has long since diverged since the likes of Super Paper Mario on Wii, which was already taking the biggest direct stylistic change the series had ever seen. We started out with RPGs that featured Mario, and became unique genre blenders of software in the process, sometimes to a fault. It's not to say that Paper Mario games have gotten bad necessarily. Well, okay, Sticker Star on 3DS was a letdown, but for the most part none of the games have been especially awful. Though there's still a general feeling of dissatisfaction that many fans of the series have expressed. Maybe you're feeling like the good old days of Paper Mario games are long behind us, and there won't ever be another experience like it. Well, wrong you would be, cause Bug Fables, the everlasting sapling, aims to directly challenge that notion. Developed by Moonsprout Games and published by Dangan Entertainment, Bug Fables was crafted specifically to both continue where Paper Mario left off, while also forge on ahead to create an experience all its own. There's much to say when it comes to the game, but almost just as much to say in terms of how the game serves as a spiritual successor to Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. The classic timed input turn-based gameplay returns in full force, with heavy hitters like Kabu taking the form of Mario's trusty hammer, and characters like V or Vi, I don't know, filling the role of timing hits just right along these bars of color. It's all about pressing the right button at the right time, essentially, and it feels so rewarding to do it, and highly punishing when you don't. If you've ever played classic Paper Mario, you've played the combat of Bug Fables, to an extent. Mechanics like flying enemies, underground enemies, and others work highly similarly, again, all faithfully mimicking the tried and true gameplay style that started all the way back in Super Mario RPG. You walk around overworlds, run into enemies whom you face off against in turn-based battles where you manage specific group techniques as well as item usage in order to craft winning strategies. Not so much focusing on classes or equipment like in Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, and more so focusing on team skills and inventory management. Where Bug Fables differs from Paper Mario is obviously in its story, characters, and smaller design nuances. And by small design nuances, I mean the literal entire aesthetic theme of the game, that being based on the world of insect life. Beetles, roaches, ants, bees, wasps, and all kinds of other arachnids like scorpions and spiders are what make up the colorful and charming cast of the game. There is even leaf bugs and other more obscure kinds of insects to discover as you delve deeper and deeper into the world. Each area of Bug Fables reflects the respective species that lives there, with some, of course, humanizing liberties taken. See, I don't know if insects actually have merchants in real life. I don't even know if they have like an established currency. I don't know. We're not exactly in the Mushroom Kingdom anymore, though we are in a land that is ran and managed by kingdoms, so I guess there is still some similarity on that front. You do engage primarily with the queen who gives orders, though unlike Princess Peach, this queen is not quite helpless, or innocent for that matter. Sure, you play as a group of rejected warriors trying to gain recognition in what appears to be a rather apathetic monarchist society, but everything from the species of each bug to the roles within the feudalistic system is detailed. The world here is built very well, without a lack of information for those who want to really know every inch of the universe. Sure, it's a highly polygonal world, with flipping 2D sprites making up the bulk of characters and objects in the game, but even without the knowledge that this game is an obvious tip of the hat to the Paper Mario visual style, it has enough personality to stand out on its own. It's an indie game, so it's hard to expect too much detail in much of the world architecture, but I think the devs struck a great balance between simple, blocky models and fairly detailed 3D objects and textures. Though there are a few environmental features that don't look amazing, it's an indie production with a fairly limited budget, so for what we have, it's pretty acceptable at worst and great looking at its best. It can be an accessible world for kids to get into, while still retaining enough interesting characteristics to keep general audiences around for more than just the gameplay. The characters, as I mentioned already, are very charming. Each bug has at least a decently drawn sprite, with some having some pretty cool standout designs. Kabu has a serious inferiority complex, pushing him to be genuine, driven, and good-hearted. Kabu also has a crazy sad backstory, but admittedly they all actually have really developed backstories. V, or Vi, again, I don't know, is brash, reactive, and witty all at the same time. She's probably my favorite character and also goes through a pretty genuinely good character arc with her sister. Leaf is basically the main mystery of the game, and they reflect that in a stoic and soft-spoken personality. And you gotta love each of the noises that they have for voices. It's surprisingly adorable. The three make up Team Snakemouth, and basically the main party of the game. They go through their own share of troubles as well as learn practical abilities throughout their journey, making for a surprisingly character-driven story at times. That isn't to say that the plotting is irrelevant though, far from it. Their quest is for the obligatory object in the subtitle, the everlasting sapling, and while it does take center stage as being important, as it's teased as the ultimate treasure for our band of explorers to collect, other larger narratives that are intertwined with the main plot take a larger spotlight, like problems with the honey factory or earning the trust of a plant goddess. That is to say, the story is fantastic in its multifaceted variety, both big and small. It's nothing super nuanced or deep, but it does have a satisfying central mystery and some unexpected twists and turns. Beyond the story though, the game can be either casual and easy, or surprisingly hard. Some boss fights will outright deny you a victory if you don't fight it correctly, giving you 0 damage for attacks that could have won the fight if things didn't go as the devs actually wanted. Of course though, if one is patient and learns the rhythms and patterns of the game, Bug Fables is highly enjoyable at basically every point, despite again some tough-as-nails enemies and puzzles. Sure, there are some tricky puzzles and interesting gameplay mechanics that can be hard to learn, like V's boomerang or Leaf's bubble shield, but still, it's a fun time. The music is also surprisingly catchy, with some battle themes getting stuck in my head for a while after a play session. The music for the overworld is fine too, but it's really the battle music that steals the show. The sound effects and overall sound design is fine, though kinda minimal. There are some cute jingles sprinkled throughout that help with the lack of ambiance and reactive sounds though. I am incredibly impressed with Bug Fables, and while I don't personally think it reaches the tectonic highs of the 1000-Year Door, I do think it's the closest we've got to a legit Paper Mario RPG in a very long time. And even beyond that, the game stands out past those games to carve out its own identity. Hopefully this isn't the last Fable in this sprawling Bug universe. So much more could be done, and it leaves plenty of room for even more ambitious sequels to follow.